I'm trying to get my Krita to capture. Oh, it's being a butthole today. I was fiddling with it before stream. I even restarted both apps, and it's just not capturing. I don't know what the problem is. Krita, hello. Let's see. Hold on. I think I got it. Nope, I did not. Okay, we're doing this today, Krita. All right. Give me 1 second, everyone, while I try to fix whatever this is. Come on. What do you want to capture? Why is it not capturing? Like, hello? That's interesting. I don't want to use the other kind of capture because you don't get to see the actual colors. I noticed on the window capture mode, you don't actually get to see the real colors that I'm using. Everything looks muted and blank. Why isn't it working? Krita, why are you being a butthole? Well, now I gotta fiddle with this for an hour. God damn it. Okay. We're doing scuff today. Got it. Where the hell is my capture? What if I restart my program again? What if I boot it from Steam? I think that's the only other thing I could think of that might fix it. Why are you being a butt? You could just be nice and capture already. Like that'd be great. It'd be super helpful. It was being nice all of yesterday. I don't know why, but my art program has such a problem with being captured sometimes, and it's only my art program. Most of my other games don't have this issue. I don't know why. Why does it do this? Is it not even on my Steam? Hold on. I don't understand why it does this. Okay. Alright, Krita. Just gonna have to fight you. What if I boot up a different drawing? You'd be cool then? No? Okay. Guess I gotta fight you. Alright. See, so when I use this capture, it's fine, but it doesn't show you the colors. Everything's grayed and muted. So when I'm drawing, it doesn't look as great as if it were to capture the real freaking drawing.
Yahoo!
Capture the real screen, Krita.
What's up, Jim?
God damn it.
You need something?
Hey, Spicy. I'm bullying my art studio right now, trying to get this thing to fucking work. But for some reason, it does not want to capture. It's unoptimized? Well, who cares if it's optimized or not? Krita! God damn it, bro. Hold on. I don't want to sit here and leak things to you by accident. Sometimes. And there's literally no fix for it. Sometimes it just doesn't want to capture, and there's nothing I can do about it. I just have to deal with the fact that it just does not want to work today and use my window capture instead, but it doesn't capture the right colors. I mean, I could try display capture. Maybe that would look better. Let me try that. For a second, I thought that it was working. No, see, when I turn off my window capture, it goes away. Even though I have... maybe there's a OBS setting that I could turn on that might make it work. Allow transparency. No, that doesn't do it. Pre-multiplied alpha, limit cursor frame rate. Third-party overlays such as Steam. No. It's like there's nothing here that would... Window title must match. That would make it so I don't leak stuff. Let's try other window match priorities. Why don't you want to capture? You've never been this bad. Okay. Yeah, straight up, it just does not want to capture today. Okay, cool. Whatever, Krita. I don't know why you're doing this. Which means I need to turn this on, and it's going to be jank for a second. Because I didn't even format it. I haven't built another Edison deck in a minute. Because I've been just focused on artwork for a little bit. I mean, rightfully so. Alright, let's see how this works. I don't like display capture because it captures all my other shit. And it looks, I think it looks exactly like window capture anyway. So it's better that I just use that. Because I don't have the potential of leaking things that you're not supposed to see. Okay, we're just gonna deal with it. I can't do anything right now to deal with Krita. I restarted my programs, both OBS and Krita, like 4 times, and it did not fix it. So, I could Google it real quick, but like, come on, man. OBS. Here, I'll just search it real quick in case there's a fix. Setting it to OpenGL, it almost might be window pop out issue. Try having all your widgets stuck to Krita, not popped out. I don't have any popped out. Maybe select your display or something. At least that's what I had to do yesterday. Yeah, I did that. I did that. That doesn't help me. Thanks, Reddit. Capture reference to show windows with no names. Create windows should show capture. Yeah, but I did that and it doesn't work. Okay, whatever. You're so helpful as always, Google. We're just gonna deal with it. If I create maybe a new artwork, possibly that might just like make it work, because that seems to do it for me. Nope. Okay, it's just being a butthole. Cool. All right, we're just gonna work with this. I'll just deal with it. Anyway, I plan to do some artwork for the spear that we're working on because I want to do the third weapon, which is the final fusion between these two. My sister also had the wonderful idea of putting some kind of metal parts in here or just something in the center that like holds them all together to make it make a little more sense, and also just like match the color palette of the spear because I don't have any black, white, or gray in this shield. So I want to put some colors in somehow. Of course, the outlines are just outlines. Those won't be that color when I actually do the shield. The colors will vary, but I do need to have like some kind of like bit in the middle that keeps it all together. So I'm going to probably do that around the magenta gem. And then let's see. Let's also, yeah, I'm basically just going to use this silhouette and make the big spear, but I'll just turn the page and do it down there. I think that's the plan. And then if I just blitz right through it, which I probably will, I think we'll just continue working on either doing the overlays because I need to finish that, or I would do a Yu-Gi-Oh card teaser of Project C.A.E. now that I have a spear and a weapon, so that I can make like a dual monster, and then I can make a field spell card of Anana City. So like that would be like a combo. Be really cool if you had a locking piece, and it has to be your And have it be your crescent that are on your models for your head right now. Yeah, that could be. That's what I'm thinking is like some kind of piece that holds it all together in the form of the crescent. Yeah. So I think I'll probably rework some of the shield, um, so that I can make space for the crescent, and then I'll just have it holding all of the blades together. I think that's what I'll do. Yeah. Because I might change the middle bit. I do have an idea for how I could form the shield, so I'm gonna rework it, and then I'll work on the two-handed spear. So let me get my drawing tablet. There we go. Yeah, I hate window capture because it does not capture the right colors on your screen. You don't see what I'm seeing. It sucks, but unfortunately, sometimes Krita just doesn't want to work, and there's really nothing I can do about that. Maybe my drawing tablet being plugged in will fix it. Imagine. What? You know what? We don't ask questions. We just, if it works, it works, and I just don't think about it too much. Okay, well, I need to resize it because I remade the capture. I'm gonna fucking lose my mind. So my drawing tablet needs to be, is that the win condition for getting my capture to work? Is that my drawing tablet needs to be plugged in, otherwise it doesn't work? Is that it, Krita? You're inseparable with my drawing tablet. It just has to be there, otherwise you don't want to work. Whatever. Oh, whatever, it works. See, now it's so much brighter, isn't it? Exactly. That's why I hate the window capture. I've been doing that for years because I could never figure out how to get it to work, and apparently my drawing tablet being hooked up is what fixes it. So we don't ask questions. We just deal with it. Works, it works. All right, let's just do my spear down here. Yeah. And then I'll do it first. Actually, no, let's do the shield first. Okay. And then I'm going to change my music. Alrighty. So where should I start here? I think I can just incorporate the crescent shape into this. I also have an idea. Here, hold on. Let's move this. I have an idea for like a shape where I could do. Just gonna like sketch this out really fast. Because I kind of wanted to incorporate my sigil into the shield, right? Because that's what the Romans did. So my sigil would just be my icon. And that kind of makes a shield shape, doesn't it? And then I can have the wings. That already makes a shield shape. Okay, that's pretty fucking cool. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna rework the shield. I don't know why I didn't just do that. That's so much cooler. Eight days, time ticking. Well, I don't know what I'm gonna do for 100 stream streak. I didn't have a plan for that. What am I supposed to do for that? I don't. And don't you say femboy art? You can't make me. You can't make me do it. I know what you're thinking. Okay, let's do the lines. I I know exactly how I'm gonna do it. Am I seriously considering doing like a quick artwork sketch of me wearing an outfit? Am I really considering this shit? Because 100 stream streak is crazy. Hmm. You know what, Lamb? If you get to 100 stream streak, that is pretty insane. And you've been here basically every day, almost every day for like the past, what, year now? I've been teasing you about Femboy Kai for since as long as you joined my channel. If I had to give it to you, I think it would be fair to do a sketch at least of it. It doesn't have to be full body. It just needs to be some kind of funny little artwork, right? You've been here forever. You've been one of the biggest supporters. You're a very active member. I think it would be fair if I did something like that. If you had to choose an outfit, what would it be? And choose wisely. Because I'm doing this one time. One. And it, of course, will be Project Kai. I'm agreeing to doing a drawing. If you had to pick an outfit, what would it be? I'll let you decide. If you want to send me one, you can just find one on Pinterest or something and send me it and I'll draw it. How about that, Lamb? I've been teasing this guy about it forever, and he never thought the day would come. But you know what? It's not that hard. It's not that big of a deal. I could at least give him a sketch. Like, I gotta do something for that, because that's such a stream goal, you know? 100? Like, what the hell? And it's not just that. It's just that he's been here forever. Hold on, I'm trying to find, like, chill music. Hold on. I'll just find a playlist. That will work. Choose wisely, Lamb. Oh, I was gonna do, yeah, no. I know what I'm doing. This way. Actually, I need to just do the line art because I want to do big blue highlights on the outside to make it glow when I add the lights. I need this. Yeah, there we go. Beautiful. Is this, what layer is that on? Here we go. Just clean up the space a bit. Okay. What the hell's this? I don't know what that is. I will just leave it there. Okay. He didn't even respond. I'm wondering if he heard it or if he's just trying to find like an outfit, or if he just doesn't believe that I'm being honest. Because I've joked about it forever. I said I never would do it, you know? But I'm like, it's what he's wanted most forever, and he's been here forever. So, it's kind of only fair. Oh yes, the music from Hollow Knight or Silk Song that sounds like Skyrim. Yep. It's basically just Skyrim. Don't be like, no, it's nothing like Skyrim, except that it is. Listen to the Skyrim roaming music. He doesn't even know what that is. It just makes me sad. Like, how do you not know what Skyrim is? It's freaking Skyrim. Isn't that crazy? We live in a world where it's possible for people to not know what Skyrim Elder Scrolls 5 is. Oh, Lamb, I'm gonna have to show you, by the way. There's a game that my brother just introduced to me that basically is the French Revolution, or I think it's one of the wars, one of the many wars with the British, and it's very funny because the people that were playing it was like, oh damn it, I don't want to be French. I can't be French, and I'm just gonna. He just wants to be the pirates, but like they ended up being French, and the entire time they're like doing the French accent, speaking English, but like it's really funny. One of them is just talking like Napoleon, basically, and he's doing the walk. I'm like, oh, I have to play this. This sounds so funny. I'll show you too. It's really funny. But it also looked like incredible. So it's realistic, like ship warfare, and things that I love. So apparently the guns are as inaccurate as they used to be. So you're just gonna fire at things and hope that you hit them. Like, ah, yes. Perfectly balanced as the Lord intended. As all things should be. Need this to be a little bigger. Yeah, it's about right. It's just a sketch. It doesn't have to be perfect. Well, my perfectionism says it does. Okay. Yeah, there's my crescent. You're aware of this, where this is going. Look, it's Hornet. Yeah, I want a bigger inner crescent. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, here's my double crescent. Let's do the symbol of Uranus now. It's a bot. Lamb, you still here? Yeah, does someone are any of my mods here to get that real quick? I don't know that they are. Get that clanker out of here. What's up, Shelly? Let's make it thinner. Gonna be broke again for a bit. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why people try to get cheap models or like make them themselves, because oof. Yeah, it is mega expensive. I do not blame you, my friend. Yeah, now you see why I picked up making model art in the first place. Yep. Originally, it was because I simply just cannot afford it. If I could, I would have just paid for someone else to make it instead, because it takes an incredible amount of time and practice to know how to do. But I'm like, I have time, I just don't have money. So gotta do what works. And unfortunately, being a broke boy, that means I have to learn how to do it myself. Yeah, Shelly. So I thought of spear and shield. So I'm reworking my shield design. Um, I thought of like a cool shape of how I can incorporate my symbol into the shield. Basically, it's my logo. And then I'm just gonna somehow work this into the shape of the shield itself. So let's see here. Let's move a bit of this. I think. Yeah, I want this to be poking up a bit more. Oh, did it grab some of the pink part? It did. That's fine, I can fix that. Oh, I see. No, it's just cutting it off. That's fine. You know what? I'm just gonna leave it there. Whatever. Okay. Also, that's my spear, Shelly. There's my spear. Yeah, that's my logo. There we go. And then shave that down. And then we can pretty much just fill this in. I kind of want to shave it down a bit. Yeah. Give it a bit more form. And then let's move this over. Shrink it down just a peg. Okay. Ignore that. I don't know what that is. I think that's the background, actually. Oh, it is. That's what that's been this whole time. There. And I think what I should do is since my wires and everything, and there's a lot of blue on my model, I wonder if it would be cooler to have it like this. Or actually, what if... Hey, I got an idea. Make sure I'm getting the shield shape right. I don't want it to be too big on the frame. Right. Hmm. Something's missing here. I think it's better if it's just these, actually. Just testing this. Let me just fill. I'm just gonna test this idea. Oops. Kind of see where I'm going with this. And then the blue would fill in between. So basically the wings would be purple and the blue would fill in between them. Let's try that. Thinner. Turn off symmetry for a second. I think that's the thing that's doing it. Yeah. So I can get like a shield shape in here if I really wanted. Or I can just have it, let's see. And then I need to add some metal parts. So what I'll do, because that's the whole idea, is to add some metal to it. So I could encompass this. I'm probably just gonna have to outline it myself. Whatever. I think what I would mainly do, it's a sketch. I'm not worried about perfection right now. Just getting the outline idea. Because I need like a technical part to the shield. It's not all just holograph. Okay. Hmm. thinking how I would put this into like mechanical terms. I think we just get rid of all this. I need all that gone. I'm thinking about how this could be like mechanical somehow because I don't know how I would do that. Maybe I just liked the shape of the previous shield idea. I think I can go back enough to go back to it. I don't know if I can incorporate my logo. I'll find some way. I think I just got to do it with the shield design that I had because it was good. If I can go back that far, then I can. You know what? I can just not save, I think. Let's see. There we go. Got it. Oh, now it doesn't want to work, huh? Oh my god, Krita. I flicked over for like 10 seconds. There it is. God damn. Yeah, I think I just liked this design too much. Did I? What layer did I do that on? This one? What layer did I do that on? Color? There we go. I think I can make this mechanical. I mean, really all I gotta do is like... Where's my symmetry tool? There it is. Yeah, do that. think I just do it on the big ones. Thank you, Mason. Also, welcome in. I'm working on the shield and trying to make it look more mechanical. Oh, he's at work. Okay. Now let's remove the rendering here too. Is that on the color layer? That is on the color layer. Okay, well that's fine. I'm removing that anyway. Okay. I have a plan for this. Kind of. Sort of have a plan for this. I'm kind of just winging it. But I mean, that's what I do all the time anyway. So that's just what I do. Actually, let's just do color first. I want to lay probably a gray down on this. The same gray that I used for the spear. Okay. I think I kind of see where this is going. Yeah, because I'm making it look more mechanical, like the blades are coming out of this like mechanism. So I'm just gonna add a bunch of things to make it look more cyberpunky and more like blade wing-ish, you know? Which will probably mean that I need to incorporate this mechanical design into the final spear shape. Not the smaller one, the smaller one's fine, it can stay the way it is, but I do need to incorporate both designs into the final product because, well, because it's a fusion of the both of the two of them. So obviously it's going to have elements of both. So the final one will probably look even more mechanical. I went and decided that I'm going to make this one the hollow as well, a holographic, I mean. So they'll both kind of be transparent at some point, I imagine. Or at least the spearhead will be. This one can stay the way it is because it's got like the transparent shield effect to it. Um, that's totally fine. I'm actually gonna redo that just a bit because. Can we do that? Yeah, let me just remove that. Make it easier to work. Just put it back when I'm done. Some of the bits are hovering, obviously, and I'll make it better later on, but I just want to get like the core idea down first. It would be kind of cool if there were levels to this mechanic wise. I think I just focus on these lines here. Oh, my phone is buzzing. That is not a number that I know, so I will ignore you. Just screwing with some idea patterns on it. I'll leave it for now. Where's the original art? The wing design that I took from it? Yeah, I can kind of take inspiration from this. Okay. Then let's make this inner bit here brighter. Is this on line layer that I filled it? Oh, what the hell? Oh, I filled it on render layer. Good job, me. Good job. Wait, I only filled that top part on render layer? What did I do? What the fuck? All right. I kind of want this inner bit to be brighter. Make those shiny. Oh, I know what I'm doing wrong. What layer is that? This is what happens when I'm sketching so fast that I'm just not like keeping track of what layer I'm on. This is what happens. This is why I can't like rush through the model process and why it takes so long because I'm working on like 100 different layers. I'm not even fucking with you. I might actually be at 100 layers by now. I haven't even, I'm not even done. I have so many facial expressions that I need to make too. Like it's actually gonna take me forever. And with summer just like on the way and slowly tanking my productivity over time, ooh, this is gonna be a doozy. I wanted Project Kaiser to be done by now, but such is life. I mean, I also was just dumping all of my time into Hollow Knight and Silk Song, and it's kind of why I got so burnt out on it. I'm like, it's not just about me playing nothing but this game over and over and over every single day, but like, it just, I have this massive, super passionate, highly important project waiting for me to finish everything else and get it done. But like, I can't do those two at the same time because the amount of time and focus that requires of me, and I'm not even making YouTube videos on it. Like, at least when I'm doing the collabs, I like making videos on the collabs because they're great, they do well, I have fun making them, it's my friends, like, you know, it makes sense, we gotta do them, and they're all a lot of fun. But like when I'm doing solo let's plays, regardless of how well that series is doing, which it's doing fairly well compared to everything else I've done, it's keeping up with the attention that the collabs are getting, so that's on its own, that's pretty great. So, you know, and it is a fun game. I've talked about it plenty. I've talked to Ear Off about it. Like, it's fun. I enjoy the series. I do. But, like, mostly the reason why I kept playing it and haven't ended it already or started other projects is because I know that, like, if I leave that project by itself and I don't finish it, or if I'm, like, working on it and then I just stop, like, everybody who's watching it is just going to stop watching it. You know, it's like they want the series to be done. They want to see the end of it. And if I just put it on pause for too long and I don't go back to it, then everybody who was watching is just going to forget about it and like watch some other stuff. And it's like, there's always that threat. I don't want to leave it alone too long. I'm even thinking about it every day while I'm doing artwork. I could be doing Hollow today. Do I feel like it though? Not really. Still burnt out. Okay. I don't want to force myself and play something that I don't want to play. That's obviously against what I do, but at the same time, if a fan base is responding well to something I'm doing, I'm going to be encouraged to do more of that thing. Of course, as any content creator would be. If people like the thing you're doing, you're only going to want to do it more, and that's why I've continued it so long, because people are truly enjoying it. And I'm like, okay, well, if they're really liking the content I'm making, then I'm just going to keep making it. But then it became less about what I wanted to do, and I've got all these projects I want to line up, and I have like collabs that I'm planning, and some days that I would cancel because I'm like, no, I can't do this thing because I have to do Hollow Knight. You know, I'm trying to finish Hollow Knight, and we still haven't even finished it. And I've been wanting to sit down and actually do that, but like, the game, it doesn't just take a lot of focus, it's stressful because like it's so much more energetic and the vibes are different on that than what I'm used to, you know? So for me, it can be pretty stressful, especially since, guys, I'm used to like an older audience. We all are. We're all used to the older audience by now. We're all in our 20s, 20 somethings. I don't have a problem with having younger audience, but it does take some time for me to get used to because I'm not at all used to them. They just have so much energy, you know, that I just don't have, that we just don't have. So much energy I wish that I could have. Their humor is different, their vibe is different. They're not looking to watch streams because of it being an experience. They're looking to be entertained, and to them, that's what streams are for. It's to be entertained. So the thing they're looking to get out of it is just moments and moments, entertainment. And that's fine. It's cool. I do seek to entertain you guys. Obviously, it's kind of my job. But like the main takeaway I want for people watching my content is that there's a lesson to be learned from it. There's many lessons. Yeah, and I'm not just teaching you. I'm learning from you. The point is that we teach each other. We learn from each other. We do stuff. We share experiences, and that makes us grow as people. You know, like the whole point is that I want you to take something away from my content. I want to take something away from my content and the interactions that I have with you guys and the things that you teach me. I want to take something away from this, regardless of how far I get in my career. I want to know that I walked away from streaming. If I ever walk away from streaming or content creation in general, I want to walk away knowing that I've got a bunch of people that are willing to support me no matter where I go. That I've got a community of people that were affected by what I did. And their lives are different now because of it, because I left a mark on them. I want to create something truly impactful to people. That's why I want to do the artwork so much. That's why it means so much to me, because I know that it means even more to some other people. And I don't know how it affects you. I don't know what you guys think when I draw some truly emotional pieces. I just did one recently. I don't know how people react to that. You don't tell me. I don't need to know. I can only assume that someone out there, even one person, sees it and they feel what I'm feeling in those drawings and they know what it's like. And to see someone else drawing something like that and putting it into a character for them to relate to or a face for them to connect to inspires them. It gives them some kind of comfort. I listen to like sad, mopey, emo boy, depressing shit because it's just a feeling that I'm used to. It's comforting. It's familiar. So to a lot of people, you know, just being able to process emotions and seeing somebody else doing it can help them process theirs. And it, you know, it's nice. It's nice to feel like you have a character to cling to, something to attach to, you know, so that you're not just dealing with your shit by yourself. And those people know that it's not just a face, it's not just a character in a game for them to like, it's a real person they can talk to. That's the unique thing about it. I'm not just some character in a game. I'm not just some marketable thing in a gacha game or some, you know, I'm a real person. I'm a person. So if they feel those things, if they want to talk to me, they actually can. The content truly has an impact on people, and I want people to know that. That's what I focus on, and I feel like when I'm playing games like Hollow Knight or Silksong, that's not really the impact I'm having on people, and it kind of takes away from that. The more I do of the other stuff and don't focus on the artwork, the less that I feel like I'm having an impact, because it takes away from the main focus. That's why when like it's fine to crack jokes all the time, it's fine to have fun, it's fine to do all this stuff, but of course at the same time I'm balancing that and other emotional stuff. That's why all the most emotional things are in the artwork, and I don't really talk about it on stream. I never really draw those things on stream because they're heavy, and that's not everybody's cup of tea, but I still want some people to enjoy it if they choose, right? I'm not going to force it on you. I don't want my art to be something that everyone's just like, he's just doing art today, you know. It's just people who are there to be entertained. I still want them to be entertained. I still want those people to hang around. And I think that there's something in my content for everyone. Of course, I want it to be that way. But, you know, I can't appeal to absolutely everyone. And the main audience, even if it's smaller, it doesn't fucking matter. I've realized, like, it doesn't matter if a bunch of people are enjoying my Silksong playthrough, if the reason they're enjoying it is because of entertainment. Because that's not my main goal. While it is something that I want to do as an extension of my content, it's not the main focus. People think that entertainers seek to mainly just entertain. Your job is just to simply be a comedian or something for people to throw tomatoes at and laugh, you know? And, you know, there's a lot of people that do that. There's a lot of creators that do that. There's lots of big energy, big hype, professional esports players. There's all sorts of just buzzy, like hyper whatever content out there. But I never see content creators that just sit down and do something like this or just talk, you know, and are willing to just be open as people. My entertainment, you could say, is not through big hype moments all the time and constant stimulation. The entertainment I provide is almost a level of therapy for people. That's what I'm doing. My content is therapy for me and for people who watch me who have the same or similar issues, because it gives someone for them to connect to, and and they have a feeling of, well, even if they don't talk to me about things, the fact that they have the ability to and they feel comfortable doing so if they do, means that it's just like having someone in your corner. It's like being heard, you know? It's like it's removing that feeling that they're all dealing with it alone. Because even if they are, I don't want them to feel like that here. I know how impactful it can be for someone to just have a creator to connect to, where they feel like if they really wanted to talk about something, they're not going to get judged for it. They're not going to get made fun of. They're not going to get ignored. We'll just talk. And I'm not going to sit there and like give them answers or just try to help them. I'm just going to listen if they need it. If they need like solutions, they can ask for it, but I'm not going to give you suggestions or like help unless you need it, unless you want it. Sometimes, and the reason is because sometimes people just want to talk. Sometimes they don't want suggestions. Sometimes they don't want analysis. They just want someone to listen. And many of you don't understand that sometimes just having someone to talk to can be the most impactful thing for someone. Not everyone needs diagnosis. Not everybody has some clinical problem, and you don't need to spend hundreds of dollars in the US just to go get it diagnosed, when you can sometimes fix the problem with a conversation. It's not a replacement for therapy. If someone has a actual problem and they feel like they do, you should go check it, get it checked out. And I will encourage you to do so, because it helps a lot of people. But I'm saying that not everybody needs to go through that process, because sometimes it can actually make it worse. And truly, sometimes the problem is simply just fixable with a conversation. Maybe in that immediate moment, they just feel bad about something and they just need something to either distract them or comfort them. And for them, this is just how they do it. When I'm playing video games, it's entertaining, it's fun, we have fun, we laugh. But I have to do that and find a balance between that and all of the other stuff I do. I want people to walk into my streams when I'm playing games even and get the immediate feeling that this is the kind of impact I'm trying to create. I want them to know pretty much immediately that that is the kind of content I'm making, that is the vibe that I've got. We can joke, we can have fun, we can laugh, but we also can talk about stuff that's real, if you need to. If you just feel bad because something shitty happened, you can just let me know. You don't have to tell me exactly what happened. You don't even need to tell me anything at all. You can just say you feel bad, and I'll ask you if you want to talk, or I'll just say, if you need me, I'm in my Discord. You don't even have to do it on stream. We can talk personally, privately. I make time for people. I'll make time for you. If you need me, I'm there, That's what I do. I can't be there for absolutely everyone though. So like, you might be asking, well, am I not stretching myself too thin? Well, right now, no, because I'm still small, so I have the ability to do that, I have the ability to sit down with people. Guys, I'm not going to have that forever. There's going to be a day where I outgrow that, where I'm not going to have time to sit down with individual people, because there's going to be thousands of people that I'm talking to every single day, It's not that I won't remember you, it's that I just won't have the time to sit down and have conversations like that all the time with people, right? I'm going to outgrow it, and some people are going to miss that when I do, but it's just an inevitability. But you know what? While I'm a small creator, while I still have the ability to talk to you and build that connection, you have the ability to do it while you can, enjoy the moments while we have them, because they won't be there forever. My content 8 years from now is not going to look anything like what I'm making now, I'm sure. It's going to be so different. That's why I'm just building moments with people now while I can, because I won't be able to do it forever. One day I'll outgrow it. I'm just trying like patterns here just to see what I like. How was that? Oh, Nightmare Lantern. Queen's Garden. There we go. I like that soundtrack. I think what I do is I just... Yeah, that seems fitting. Just simple lines, nothing crazy. Not like my body lines on the 1.0 model. Not doing that again. That's why, like, when I haven't done a stream where we just sit down for a while and like we're playing Silksong or whatever game we're doing all the time, I'll in between that sometimes just take a day to just sit and talk and do something like artwork or something relaxing and calming and just like step away from whatever it is we're doing, because it grounds us and we gotta be reminded that, you know, it is okay to just sit and talk sometimes. And there's going to be plenty of days where like I'm just sitting there grind, and that might change the mood for a lot of people, because the main the people that matter the most are the ones that are impacted by the content I make, you know. Those are the ones that matter the most. So of course I'm going to prioritize those people. They're my target. That's the audience I want mainly. The ones who are here to change their lives and change other people and just grow as people and build that deeper connection. That makes it look more mechanical. I think I like that kind of like plated idea. And then I could even connect it like this, you know? Yeah, wait. I want to connect it somehow. Let's make it kind of like... Yeah, most people are there for a distraction. But the thing is that I feel like you can find that in basically every content creator, you know? But you can't find the genuine connection and deep community and deeper, like, bond, you know, in every community. You can't find that. It's pretty rare. You can, if you want to be entertained, God, you can do that so easy. Like, just watch pretty much any VTuber. They're pretty hilarious, not gonna lie. Well, not all of them, but there's a lot of good streamers and VTubers out there. There's a ton of them. Like, believe me, I got plenty of content creators that I watch on YouTube that are hilarious, you know? And I don't really go to those communities for social interaction or deeper connection. That's not why I watch them. Like I too have creators that I just watch because they entertain. And why do I watch them? Well, it's not just about being entertained. Maybe I find some level of comfort or distraction in watching them because it takes me away from whatever else I'm thinking about, you know? So I totally get it. 100% I do. Like, it's not that I don't understand that. It's just that, like, I can do that and also build a deep audience, but um too much of one or the other, not good. I feel like in the world of hyper stimulated, over the top, funny moments, constant or like just dopamine, 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 big moment, funny, funny. I feel like I just can't help but wanna just not do any of that. Like I wanna be fun and have great moments and do the call. That's what the collab videos are. That's my dose. That's my dosage. I do collabs with friends, and it still has the deeper emotional connection because it's with my friends and because you guys get to be a part of something bigger. But you know, they're also hilarious. So I feel like that's perfect. That's why I like doing the collabs so much, is because it's just with my friends. And I get to put dumb shit in there and like editing and stuff. And it's cool to edit those. I do actually enjoy editing them. It's like the one form of content that I really like making videos for, besides like video essays for passionate topics, is because like they're just so easy to make because the moments kind of just make themselves. Like we don't need to play any of it up. I don't need to do any memes or anything. I don't need to hyper edit them. They kind of just write themselves. I just put like some funny music in the background or something, and it just kind of, I don't really need to do anything. I'll just watch them, and it's like, wow, that's just entertaining and funny enough as is. Like, it's enough. That's got enough going on. I don't even really need to bother with it. God, we're so funny. I feel it's just like our collabs are just so organic, you know? I think that's why I like them so much. It's just fun with friends. Yeah, it feels like there's just like a greater community that's a part of it as a whole too when we do them. See, I'm trying not to make the Sims plumb bob. Don't make the Sims. Resist the urge to make the Sims gem. Now we make it glow. What you want, Spicy? Oh, splashdown in 41 minutes? Really? That was that fast? Damn. I got so much shit going on that I just like have not been able to worry about the Artemis mission. You know, it's sad, Spicy. As a man of science, I really do. I'm like super excited to see where NASA's going with Artemis in the following missions. I would love to keep up with that shit, but I can't because life is in the way and there's way too many other things to worry about. I just don't have the time. It sucks. They're in dark out where the EMP field is. Okay. I mean, I'm kind of keeping like track secondhand just because Asmongold makes videos on it. So, I can see it by extension. So there's that. Like, I don't feel the need to really keep up myself because I know content creators will do it. Oh, wait, there's the shape. Check this out. What if it's purple instead? What do we think? Instead of blue, because the wings are blue. So what if I made it purple? Okay, that might be cooler. And I made like a gem in the middle, you know? Kind of gonna just give it a face here. I don't know what this is. Oh, is that the lines layer? Yeah.
I'm gonna drink till I reboot.
That's probably spicy. Yeah, it was. What do you know? I don't really want to color the whole thing. Do I want to hang out in Discord? Do I? I don't know if I want to do that today. Here's the shield. I think I removed this top part, not gonna lie. I've been iffy about it from the beginning, but I think I want this open space at the top. Let me just clean this up. What layer is that on? The color? Oh my god, that's a color layer. Huh. Yeah, whatever. Actually, no, leave that because I'm just going to fill it in. Actually, no, let's get rid of it. I'll just redo it. Which layers though? I did this on so many different layers. For the final touch. Oh, I should have symmetry on. There we go. God, I love the clash of cyan and magenta. Isn't it just so vibrant? You know? Alright, I think that's good. Let's brighten these inner crystals more. I kind of want them to be a little brighter. Just a tad. Because they look dead right now. Me too. That's better. Okay. So, we need to combine the two into a bigger weapon. How do we do that? Well, ooh. Need a bit of a challenge, but I'm just going to take the I'm gonna take the crescent shape and somehow rework that. I'll probably rework the prongs. We need a long ass spear. Told you, comically long spear. That's a big stick. How long is this one? About that. Longer. This fucking thing is huge. That's all I'm gonna say. Oh, do I? That's why I have my angle not proper. There we go. Oh. Following the line. Yeah, that's more like it. Big ass spear. This thing is huge. I want. That's about right. It's more oval shaped. I have it off the page now. Yes. Perfect. It doesn't even fit on the page. I'm not even doing it on the right layer, whatever. Fuck it. You know what I'm gonna do? Merge. Merge. Because the other ones are done. Merge. Merge it. Bam. New line art layer. Done. big fucking spear. That's what I want. So we want something like... This render layer, yeah, of course. Probably did the bottom unrender, didn't I? No? Okay, we're good. Right about there is where the spearhead will be. So I need to decide the shape. We're just gonna walk around and find out. Do I want it forked at the top? No. I think I need the rounded shape at the top. Yeah. I still need the rounded shape. God damn it. Another bot, really? Mods. Kill that son of a bitch. What if... I'm thinking about how I could make this mechanical looking. and not make it look staff-like. Because it's a spear, it's not a staff. I need to maintain the shape of the head of the spear. I think what I do is I can start by making the head of the spear and just go with that and then make the rest of it around it. I think that's what I had to do. When we get the proportions right, though. Start with this shape, right? Because that's the head of the spear. Maybe if it just curves down, curves up, straightens out. Blade. Inward. No. I have to take elements of both the shield and the main spear. That's the issue. I think what I do is I just make the spearhead of this one just bigger and maybe more prongs, but keep the same idea, and then just add the blade wings, and maybe that'll just bring out the head shape more. That might be what I need. Yeah, because it was like... this. Go black background so I can see this better. There we go. Hold on. There's the spearhead. I think I need it angled up more. Maybe if I... The curves were inward, right? Yeah. Maybe that's the problem. Can't be too straight. It's gotta be more of a curve. Because then when I do the straight line, it will meet too much. But that works out. Okay. The spearhead's down here. Maybe we just erase a little bit of this. Oop. Don't know what happened there. And it would be straight down there as well. I think I moved this upwards. Yeah, because I just wanted to hold the base of the spear. I don't know, man. What if we just take this part, move it down, right? I think I, maybe take this, move it down, put it there. It's symmetry. Back here. what if... Oops. What if this part was like held by this top, you know? I want it to be kind of like it's being held in place by this black bit, but I don't want it to be too wide. See, if this curves inward too much, then I can't do the straight line downwards. I think we just do a small curve here. Straight line down. No, because I want the straight line to be here, I think. Let's try this. Let's put the straight line down here. This here. More this way. Yeah, okay. Yeah, because this little fork here can go like this way into the upper shape. I don't want it to look like crab arms, though. Maybe I just do... This still needs to be pointed up more, and it needs to be sitting at the base of this like a clamp. Move the spearhead up. And remember, this thing's gonna be actually massive, so let's just move this out of the way for now. And then really just try to get the base of the spear, because I know what the head shape's gonna be, but I don't know how it's all gonna connect together. Maybe it's just my pen. Let's try a different pen. Maybe that's the thing psyching me out. These rounded bits. It's not the pen. I'm just gonna leave that. I think. God damn it. Hey, you know what? I'm just gonna leave him. Okay. Can kind of work with this. Then we need some kind of like mechanical blades around it. That's the issue, is I'm trying to figure out how to make the mechanical blade part. Maybe I'm looking at this all wrong. Maybe the head of the spear is much bigger and it's held by the clamp, right? Like a whole lot bigger. In there. Maybe it's held by this bit. Oop. I screw up the symmetry. I did. Okay. And then I'm thinking I could have the swords just be like Splash is done. Congrats to everyone on the mission. No boom. Like some people were thinking. Have you seen the flat earthers go crazy about it? They're nuts. They're losing their minds right now. Smaller blades. Smaller. Their knives, they need to be thinner. I think it's cooler if they lean a bit, yeah. They're not perfectly straight. Let's see. Let's do this on render layer. Let's see. I kind of want like some wrapping things, you know? The hell's my... Oh. Wrong symmetry bar. Of course, I'm doing this on render layer. That's fine. It'll be the same regardless. Okay. Now, I thought it would be kind of cool if the laurel wreath, instead of being, you know, like that, instead it kind of grows around. So this side would be kind of this and would attach here. And then this side.
I'm gonna drink till I
Shut up.
reboot.
Oh, it's Abyss, not Spicy. Sorry. Hi, Spicy. Hi, Abyss.
Why?
Ask him. He's being a little bastard. When isn't he? What's up, Abus? I'll probably want to go soon just because it's a really nice day out and I kind of want to enjoy it. Just a bit mad at people. Yeah, what about people? I'm mad at people all the time. Tell me about it. I think it needs to be bulkier. And I kind of want to do like this loopy rappy thing, but I feel like that would just be too difficult, you know? It's just unnecessary evil. I don't want the weapon to be too difficult to make. Unique design, important. Reproducible drawing, also important. I think. Oh, I didn't have symmetry on. Where's my... Oh. Are they able to harm someone just unjustly knowing and then there's nothing for them to gain? It's just lose-lose for everyone. I don't know how people can do it. I don't either, man. As an idealist, I don't see the point in fighting people. I just don't get it. I don't get the point of arguing at all. Because I used to do it all the time and I knew it was stupid. I did it anyway because I was a fucking kid. But I think that's the only reason why people fight so much over dumb things is because they're immature and they don't understand there's nothing of value to be gained. They do it out of spite. It's either out of immaturity or spitefulness for the other person. That's it. And how does that help? It doesn't. No one said it helps. They think it does. They think it benefits them because the other person is being spited. They get some kind of like sick satisfaction out of it. Then why do they do it? Well, just because, okay. It's like how someone will just like be toxic and be a piece of shit after an Overwatch match or like a Rivals match or really any video game. It's like how people are just complete dickheads, complete absolute tools in online games. Why do they do that? Well, because they're venting for their frustrations. It doesn't even have to be the thing they're like frustrated at. That's a little different because like, yeah, when I get mad at things, I'm just venting frustration for things that aren't related to the thing I'm being mad at, you know? That's why it's momentary and it doesn't last, and I'm not actually mad at the person. It's just bullshit, right? But like, some people are just toxic to be toxic because they get some kind of satisfaction out of it. And there's a difference between Spicy being a dickhead and someone else being a dickhead, because he's not doing it to hurt anyone's feelings. He's just a dickhead. If that makes sense. He's not doing it with any ill intent, because someone can be a dickhead and just be a dickhead, like Yokai. He doesn't mean anything by it. He's just being a tool. All right. Like, he doesn't mean anything negative by it, and if he's genuinely hurting someone's feelings, he's a nice guy about it, right? But if someone's being a dickhead because they have an ill intent against you and they mean to make you angry, they just want a reaction, because you being angrier than them and looking bad makes them feel better. People argue and fight and do all this shit because it's about having power or control over the other person. They want to not feel like the lesser person, so the only way they can do that, because they're weak-minded and self-conscious, is because they want to make someone else look worse than them so that they don't think about how bad they actually are. Nobody wants to feel like a bad person, so they make other people feel like bad people so that they can sit and point and laugh at them instead of acknowledging their own faults. Instead, we both lose. How we tell me what you need so I can help you, and we both win. Right? Yeah. Like, why not figure out what it is that is the problem and cooperate and figure out how to solve it. That's why, like, when May is telling me how competitive she is and how self-conscious she is when she loses and how much she hates losing, and it's like I could sit there and make fun of her for being like, haha, you take it so seriously, look at you get mad, and I could feed that and be a dick, or I can try and make the game more fun for her, you know, find how to make it more fun so that like she can get what she wants out of it and is less frustrated. It just make it less of a frustrating experience overall for everyone. Like how does she enjoy it? What would make it so that she's not getting so upset all the time about the thing? It's like, and how can I change the experience and adjust around her to make it more fun? You know, why not destroying the experience for myself? It's like, just cooperate to fix the problem. Don't make someone else worse than you. They're not lesser than you just because they have problems. Everyone has problems. But it's kind of about working together and figuring out how to best fix whatever it is. Like, I just don't understand why people can't work together. Why they're so afraid of cooperating. You know why, Abyss? It's because, like I said, nobody wants to acknowledge their own faults. That's why we make everybody else look worse than ourselves, because it's the only way we can cope with the fact that we're all terrible people and we have problems that we're not willing to try and fix. That's why my content will appeal to a certain kind of people and will not appeal to a certain other kind of people. That's why I say my content's not for everyone. You know why? Because I make content that acknowledges that everyone has issues. No one's better than anyone. Nobody's shamed for having problems here, regardless of what the problem is. Everyone has them. We all go through shit. It doesn't mean we have the right to assume that anyone's problems are worse than the other. Like, it's not about comparison. It's acknowledgement, and they don't want to do that. There's just no logic behind it. It's madness, and if they try to explain it themselves, that will see how insane it is. Yeah, but see, they don't care. Part of them know that. That's why they're so defensive about it, is because the more they're aware of it, the more they feel the need to defend. Because they know, like, what it looks like. They know, they're not stupid. That's the thing, is people might be insecure and selfish and assholes, but they're not stupid. It's not like they don't know this. That's why they're so defensive over it. Why some people lash out so much is because they know. They're aware of how bad they are. They are aware of their own problems enough. But the reason they're so aggressive is because they're lashing out. They don't know how to cope with that stuff, and they're not willing to go through the work to fix it. Choose the worst choice for everyone. Because to them, making somebody else worse than themselves is better than acknowledging their own faults. Even at their own cost, they will make it worse for other people because they will just focus on the fact that it's worse for somebody else and ignore the fact that they're only hurting themselves and others by doing it. Because truly they are that insecure about their own problems and are unwilling to acknowledge the fact that they have them and that they need to fix them. We can win and get better. Yeah, but think, Abyss, the reason they don't do that is because getting better is hard. Improving as a person and growing as a person and acknowledging that you have problems and facing your fears and facing those problems and doing the work to fix them is way harder than hurting somebody else. Hurting someone else is easy. It's easy. And it makes you look better. That's why they do it. Because they're just trying to make you look worse than them so that they can feel better about themselves. People do it all the time. It's called narcissism, my friend. I've dealt with them my entire life. There's different variations of it. Sometimes they're aware of what they're doing. Sometimes they're not aware. Regardless, it still hurts people. And it's like, yeah, we wish that they could just be better. They're damaging themselves. Yeah, they're ruining every friendship they have because they're willing to throw that away just to make you look worse. Because they're so afraid of themselves that they're willing to make you a bigger enemy. They're willing to just throw it all away because of just how scared they are. And it's like, they could easily just fix the problem, bro. That's like, why bully people? Well, we know why bullies do it. When you see a bully in school, yeah, it sucks, especially if you're the victim of it. But like, you can't help but feel sorry for them. Just because it's like, they don't do that for no reason. They don't do it because of sick pleasure or something they get out of it. They're just hurting you because they're hurt. And they don't know how to deal with it. They don't have an avenue to cope with it. They don't have the proper support. So they lash out. They make somebody else hurt because it's the only thing that can make them forget how they're hurting, but only for a moment. At the end of the day, they end up feeling worse, and then those people lash out even more, and it's a vicious cycle. They just become progressively more and more toxic and more emotionally stunted because they're not willing to take a moment to try and work with other people, especially when other people try to help them. They get even more defensive about it. Growing takes so much work, man. It really does, especially if you're like fucked up. It takes a hell of a lot of work, but it's something that everyone needs to do. You have to eventually. Nothing is going to change the things we've done. Nothing is going to get all of those years that I wasted back. But the only thing that I can do now is change what I have in the future. Value what I have now still, because it's all I have left. And if I keep wasting shit and just keep doing what I was doing, I'm not going to have anything left. So I better fucking change. And that doesn't mean it's easy. No. I had to basically lose everything to learn that lesson. Yeah, so let's self-destruct. Yep. That's, I used to be there. I used to be that person. It's how I know this so well. It's not because, like, it's not just that I had to deal with other people who are like it. I've been there myself. But that's why I'm so empathetic now, because I understand what it feels like to be that person. And I know that it's hard. I know that they're hurting just like we are. They're just taking it out in the worst way. And that we could grow better together. We could help them. But they're not willing to get it, man. They're just not willing. And you can't help people who aren't willing. You just have to wonder why they're like that, you know? But we know why. That's the thing. You can get upset at them. You can be mad at them for being the way they are and be mad that so many people are like this now. But all I can think is that I used to be that person, and I can only feel bad for those people because I'm lucky that I have the tools that I do and the community that I have to help me on this this path, you know, this upward growth path that I'm doing, both in content and in person. They don't have the resources that I have, maybe. And maybe that's why they're so messed up. Or maybe they're just scared like the rest of us. I don't know. Like, I don't get mad at people anymore because all I can think is like that I have this mentality, guys. There's this a philosophy that the world needs to start adopting again because it makes you more adamant about and more considerate about other people's situations and their feelings. So there's a philosophy where you just assume that someone else is having it worse than you. And that's not to say that your problems are invalid. No, it's just to keep you from getting upset when somebody else does something. It's to prevent you from losing your shit when somebody else has a problem or makes a mistake. Because you just go, oh, well, then maybe they're just having a bad day. They flip me off or cut me off in traffic because they're just having a shit day. Or maybe they need to be somewhere and they're just frustrated, they're stressed out because maybe a loved one is going through some shit and they're trying to get there quickly. You don't know? It's entirely possible that someone is stressing the fuck out because someone, they're in like a really bad situation and they're trying to get there quickly and you're in their way. Like, you don't know? How can you tell me that that person who cut you off today wasn't going through something like that? Maybe they were just an asshole. Maybe you're right. Maybe they were just a complete dickhead and they just are self-important and all the things you probably would think about them. Maybe they are. But what if they're not? You don't get anything for being upset about it. You get nothing. If anything, they get a rise out of you, because if they are a sick fucker and they're just taking pleasure off of somebody else's misfortune, then you're just giving them exactly what they want. So even if you're right, you still can't react. Regardless of who the person is, there is no point in reacting whatsoever. So it's best to just assume that everybody else has it worse than you, because regardless of if you're right or not, you just train yourself to not react. That's the point. Stop being so reactionary. Sometimes it's best to just let it go. And that doesn't mean just like ignore every problem. No. It just means if someone cuts you off in traffic or flips you off or makes a sneer at you or does something, if anybody does something, like it doesn't even have to just be in passing, just in general, when people do things, just be considerate of why they're doing the thing. And maybe they just have a bad day and you being pissed off is only going to make it worse. And guess what? Then that person's day is going to be worse. So then they're going to be more of a dick to somebody else. Or maybe you're now pissed off, so you might accidentally let something slip or do something that would frustrate somebody else. And now their day is ruined because you did something in passing that now affected them. And it's a downward spiral of everyone being a dick to each other. Because now you made somebody else's day worse when they were having a fine enough day like you were before that shit happened to you. And then you just did that to someone else. So now you're the dickhead. Like, why continue the vicious cycle? All for what? Because someone cut you off in traffic? I understand that it's really, really, really hard to just let things go. But in the world we live in, it is more important now than ever that people understand to just let shit go. Focus on the problems that actually matter. Stop focusing on the things that don't matter. Just stop. You got 3 options. Leave everyone alone, hurt yourself and others, or ask for help so you win the most and they win by extension, and they keep choosing the worst option and they still expect to win. Yeah, I know. Because they're dumb. That's why. Because they're hurt, or they're scared, or they're dumb, and they just... or a mix of all 3 things. And that's just how people are, dude. That's just how people are. This generation, especially our generation, was not taught to be emotionally aware. They were not taught to properly regulate. Ours is probably the most fucked up so far, because we're only going to be, like, the next one's only just going to be like 10 times worse than ours, because we're 10 times worse than the millennials, and they're 10 times worse than the one before them. It's just, it's an exponential spiral. But anyway, our generation is the most fucked up right now, as is. And the reason is because it's not that we're lazy, like the previous generation wants to say all the time. No, it's just that we were not taught to exist in the modern world. We had to grow up faster than everybody else and were promised something that never happened. And now that it hasn't, we don't know what to do with ourselves, because we've lived our entire lives for a promise. And now that we know that it's never going to fucking happen, what are we supposed to do? We're being told that now we have to work 10 times harder than everybody else for like a fraction of what everybody else was making before us. Everyone is stressed out now. Everyone's freaking out. Everyone's got mental health problems. Mental illness is like worse than it's ever been, and it's only growing by the day. It's like when you know how bad it is for everyone, why make it worse? Why make it worse? It's already bad enough as is. I understand it's going to be hard to be the bigger person. It is. It's really hard to be the bigger person, but I do it every day. You know why? Because being who I am and having this mentality means that I make stronger friends. Does it mean I make a lot more enemies? Oh, fuck yeah. I have more enemies now than I ever have in the past. I never had any enemies because I would just let everything roll off my back. But now I just don't take shit. Just because I assume that everybody has it worse doesn't mean I don't retaliate and defend myself when I need to. You know, it doesn't mean that I'm not confrontational and that I won't deal with problems when they arise. If they need my attention, I'll give it to them. Oh, absolutely. And people don't like that. They don't like that I handle shit responsibly, and it makes them mad. It makes them mad that I try to be better, that I take accountability, that I don't have any reason for them to hate me, and yet they still do anyway, because they understand how bad they are and that I make them look worse. And they don't like that. That's not ego, but they want to say it is. No, that's just me trying to be a better person and acknowledging my faults, acknowledging that I have a lot of work to do, and being willing to do the work to achieve it, you know? Learning from other people, talking about stuff. It's the definition of madness. What they do, or like, so pretty much prefer to be a side mob instead of being an NPC that can't harm you. Not the me player and the progress. They prefer to be that mob. If they ever talk to themselves and explain it to themselves, there's no way to justify it. Well, no, but see, like I said, they know that abyss. Why do you think they're so defensive? Why do you think they get so defensive? Nobody defends things like that unless they have a reason to defend it. They wouldn't get so worked up if they didn't understand that. No, they fucking know that, dude. But they're too immature to change. Maybe they're too stressed out. Maybe there's too much going on and they just don't know how to process it. Something is preventing them from acknowledging that they have problems and being willing to change. They don't want to. You know why? Because it's hard, and whatever they're going through that's making them this way is hard enough. People are like this because life is really fucking hard right now. It's really, really hard. No one's gonna tell you it's easy. No. And if they do, they're stupid. It's really, really hard. It's hard on everyone. We're all stressed the fuck out. But that's why it's so important, more now than ever, that people just understand if you have someone that's like that, if they don't want to change, there is absolutely nothing you can do, and you're just wasting your time. You don't care about the people, you only care about yourself, fine, but what is there to gain for yourself? Nothing, so you're not even getting anything from it. Yeah, but they're being selfish because somehow being this way is easier than changing. It kind of actually is. You know why? Because I was the dickhead. I was in this spot before. I wasted every friendship I had. Some of them were just blatantly toxic and were just bad and good, they're gone. But like some of them were not bad toxic relationships at all, and yet I blew them. I wasted them. Why? Because I was just in a bad spot, and they wanted to help me, and they tried everything they could, and they realized that I didn't want it in the first place, so they were wasting their time, and I was just lashing out. So there was nothing they could do, and I hurt them, and I gained absolutely nothing from it. All I did was lose everything. And that's why I changed, because I lost everything. The sad truth about life is that if you don't learn on your own and you aren't willing to accept and learn the lessons and be accountable and grow, then life's not going to sit around and wait for you to learn. It will fucking teach you. It's not going to sit and wait for you. Life has a wonderful way of teaching lessons to people. You know what I learned my lesson from? Alcohol. Yeah. Sometimes you make a mistake and it sobers you up real quick. Real quick. You go, oh shit, I can't do that anymore. I almost just lost everything. Maybe I should stop. But like, it took me getting to the absolute worst part of my life for me to learn how to get out of it. And for most people, it seems like that's just what it takes. Sucks. I know. But that's just how it is, man. You can't really blame him, can you? I mean, you can, but like, at the same time, we are just products of how we're raised. And not everyone was given the resources. Not even a bad one. Well, it doesn't have to make sense, Abyss, but it kind of does. Well, I mean, then you've just not, you're fortunate enough that you've not been in a situation like that. Then you're just fortunate enough that it hasn't happened to you. Consider yourself lucky. Because most of the people that act this way are simply products of their environment. And it is on us to grow, but you know, you have to have some level of sympathy considering that like some people just have it worse than others, you know, and it's going to take them longer to grow. Maybe they're more immature, maybe they just didn't have the proper resources, whatever. And it's like, they've just lived this way for so long that they don't know how to be anything else. It's like how people will date toxic people and will go from toxic person to toxic person, and then they at some point go through so many relationships they start asking themselves questions like, why does this keep happening? And it's like, well, if you stopped dating toxic people that had the same problems, maybe you wouldn't have those problems. Stop dating the same kind of people and maybe it wouldn't keep happening. And that just does not work for them, you know? They just don't understand that. Because, and the reason is, it's not they're dumb, it's because they never had anything else to go off of. They don't have any other frame of reference. That's all they've ever known. They probably grew up with abusive people in their life, and now the ones that they look for are abusive people. But with the thing that affects you is your environment, the most is you. Well, yeah, the only constant in your life is you. Environment changes even. Even though environment is one of the biggest factors ever, it does change. You are right about that. Yeah, environment changes all the time, but the only thing that is constant in your life is you. At some point, yeah, it does fall on you. Yeah, you're part of it. Exactly. That's why I was gonna say, part of the argument I'm making is, yeah, those people were raised in extremely bad conditions, so the only thing they have to go off of is what they were raised on. So they don't change because they look for the same problems in other people that they were raised on. So if they had an abusive parent or abusive sibling, they're going to look from someone that is like that person because that's the only frame of reference they have to go off of. They don't know what the problem is because they've never been able to see it as a problem and know how to prevent it. They don't know what the red flags are because they've never had anything to compare it to. So to them, it looks like, that's why like when someone goes through an extreme amount of trauma and then they walk into another toxic relationship, it's like, well, you on the outside know that it's a bad thing and that they're just getting themselves into the same situation they've always been in. And you have the awareness to say that, but they don't. Because you have a frame of reference to go off of. They don't. To them, it seems like it's less toxic than the one they had before. So for them, it's like the best thing ever. because it's the only good thing they've had. It's marginally better than the situation they had before. So to them, it's like it's a massive improvement. Even though to you, it's like, well, it's still toxic. It's like if this guy, she was raised to like, imagine. What is that from where I got that reference? What do you mean? What do you mean? English. The baseline? The standard. Well, yeah. Their standards are so damn low because their baseline is bad. That's why their standard is low. So let's say you had an abusive mother, right? Let's say you, Abyss, had an abusive mother. And your entire life, the only frame of reference for a woman is your mom. That's the only one you have. That's the best frame of reference that you have. We always look to our parents for the first example of whatever gender, right? That's what we go for. That's we subconsciously make those connections because those are the things we look up to most, our parents. So when you have an abusive parent, for example, the thing they're doing to you, you will inevitably find in other people, especially your relationship partner. You are inevitably going to look for those problems because you don't have any other reason to, you don't know how to even see them. You don't know it's a problem because you don't have any other frame of reference to base it off of. How are you supposed to know something's a problem if you've never had any reason to believe it's anything other than what it is? Like, you've never been given a reason to believe that because you don't have a positive example in your life of someone who isn't a problem, who doesn't do the things she does, right? You don't have a better example. So the best example you have is her. And regardless of if you even are aware of the fact that it was toxic or not, someone could prove it to you and tell you, and you would still probably end up with the same toxic people because you don't know anything else. You don't know what to look for. You don't know how to avoid it. There's all sorts of people that will date like some abusive relationship partner or some toxic partner, and then they move on and immediately jump into another relationship with someone who's kind of the same, that like does the same toxic shit. Why do they do that? Well, to you and I, it doesn't make any fucking sense, right? It's like, well, if someone's abusive to you verbally, then you know that it's a bad thing and you feel like trash and you finally get out of the relationship and then you just move on to somebody who does the same thing. It's like, how do you not know that that's a problem? I can't think of any. I learned what hurts and I just not want people to go through it. There was no example, no reference. Well, yeah, so that's why I'm saying consider yourself lucky then, because you don't have a bad example to go off of. You learned quickly what problems are and how to avoid them, and how to process them, how to deal with it. You learned quickly. You had the proper environment to teach you that. But not everybody does. Sometimes like everything is based around development and environment. It really is. And now it is on us eventually later in life to acknowledge problems and learn how to cope with them, and that's what we do. And you had the proper resources to go, oh, I have a problem, and be willing to go seek out help. There's no good example in the first place. I'm trying to understand what you're saying. Forgive me. I'm trying to work out your English like a puzzle. I mean, like, some people who go through extreme and unfortunate situations will eventually learn. And that's where it's like, yeah, even as bad as my examples in my life are, I still learned how to be a better person. I still grew and made that change. I still did all that stuff. How did I do it? But other people who have similar or worse situations than me don't. I'm not the product of your environment. I'm pretty much exact opposite because the environment hurt you a lot. Well, yeah, because you were aware enough to eventually get through it. You know, you had a terrible environment, so it's like, well, why didn't you turn out terrible? Well, just because someone has a shitty situation and doesn't have a good example of it doesn't mean that they can't uh, figure out that it's a shitty situation and start working on ways to get out. I mean, I imagine you had good people in your life. The thing is, all it takes is one. You can have all sorts of shitty examples in your life and have a shitty environment and just have it rough. But like, as long as there's at least like one good example of positivity, that's really all it takes. Just one. You probably can think of at least one good person in your life that you looked up to and possibly helps you. Never? I don't believe that. I don't believe that 100% you met nothing but bad people. I don't believe that. Because I can say that the majority of people in my life have been pretty shitty. That's why most of them, if not all of them, are gone now. While I either got rid of them or they left, you know. I could say that the majority of people in my life were bad, but I can't say that all of them were. I've had some pretty fairly good teachers. I've had some pretty sensibly good ones, you know, ones that like left an impact on me. I had my mother's a spectacular person. She's a great person. As awful as a lot of my family was, I still had examples of kindness in my life. Everyone does, regardless of if you think it or not. It can be anything from like a direct parental figure or a guardian, or it can just be a simple act of kindness that you had in passing. They barely scratched the surface, but see, Abyss, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Because even a small, simple act of kindness is enough to break a window. The thing is that your window can be thick as fuck, but you throw a small enough rock hard enough and have a big enough impact, even the tiniest little rock can have a massive impact and shatter that window. It doesn't matter how thick that window is. That tiny rock just needs to do exactly, it like hit at the right spot with enough force to break the entire thing. I thought I had like the biggest walls ever, but you know what? You know who that tiny little pebble was for me recently? Chizu. Now, it wasn't enough initially, but it was enough to stop my window from getting bigger. It stopped me from being so guarded. So, you know, she weakened it a little bit. She didn't immediately shatter it, but it made it weak enough to when I started getting more involved with all of you and the audience started growing a bit more. We got the community going, and then I met the rest of the 4Braincells. All of those little pebbles, all those little impacts shattered the entire fucking thing. The only reference you have is pain, so you don't do it to others. Yeah, but see, I don't believe for a second that there wasn't a single positive thing in your entire life. It could have been someone giving you something in the store. It could have been a smile that someone shared. It could have been a gentle interaction with some random stranger that you forgot about because they weren't impactful enough. The tiniest little bit of kindness in someone's life can make a much bigger impact than any of the damage done to you. Just an interaction with someone at a park. can shatter an entire window of trauma. It's not going to get rid of it. It's not going to completely like demolish all of that, but it makes a larger impact than you're willing to admit. Well, Abyss, then my question is to you. Why are you so adamant about everything in your life being shitty? It's okay to say that you had a rough life. I'm not going to tell you you're not. I'm not going to say you didn't and that all the things you went through aren't valid, because I don't know you. I don't know your life. I'm not you. I can't say all of the things you've gone through. I can't say how many people you've known in your life, but you have to understand, you're only looking at the people you think you know. You're not looking at the tens of thousands of people you've already met, or at least interacted with. You could tell me, it's easy, hindsight is 2020. You can tell me that none of that had ever impacted you at all, but I'm sure in the moment it did. But obviously, because your trauma is so damn great, you're not going to think about the small little things, because the trauma is so bad that it's basically just a gigantic wall in front of any good interactions you've ever had. You know how I know that? It's because I'm like that too. I thought my life is so bad back then that I didn't have that many great people. But when you knock that wall down, you start realizing, you know, there were actually a lot more interactions that impacted me more than I thought. And the only way I realized it is if I started thinking about it, and if other people helped me see it, you know? Like, I don't think about how good my life was growing up. I only think about how bad it was. You know why? Because my trauma runs deep. Deep. That shit is deep. But it doesn't mean that little things didn't definitely help me. Oh, absolutely. There was this one guy in 5th grade that was my history teacher, right? It was one guy. Out of the tens of teachers I probably had, I had one history teacher. I don't even remember his name or his face. I can barely remember any of like what he sounded like. But I just remember that like the only class that I genuinely looked up to, or it was like comfortable being in, and it was just like, you know, not necessarily not excited. It's fucking school. Didn't make it any. It's not school. But like the fact that the teacher was just so adamant about just being a nice person. He was just a considerate person. He treated me like a person and not a student. He didn't treat me like a kid. He didn't treat me like all the other teachers did. There was something about the way that he interacted and the way that he taught and interacted with each individual person. Like, I don't even remember shit about him, dude. I don't know what he looks like. I can't put a name to a face. I can't remember what he sounded like, but I have this distinct memory of how I felt. It's insignificant. It's just neglectable. Well, maybe to you it is, yeah. But you know what, Abyss? As hurt as you are, as hurt as I was and still am, you get to a point in your life where you start to think about little things like that. You start to think about this, like me, where you start to think about this this one girl who I don't even remember the name of, who I used to sit with every lunch period in my high school. There was like a 2-year period where I was doing veterinary with her. I don't even remember her fucking name, but like I sat with her every single lunch period. We almost never talked, but we would share like an interaction once in passing sometimes, and we would kind of just share the space. And you would think nothing of it, right? I thought nothing of it at the time, but when I got out of high school and I started reevaluating my life and thinking about things, I had all the time in the world to think about things. And sometimes I thought about the stuff like that. And it's like, you know, in the moment back in high school, I didn't really think anything of it. But now that I'm older, I realize that was probably one of the most genuine interactions I ever had, even though I barely ever said a word at all. We hardly ever talked. And yet I felt more comfortable around this random person than I have with most people in my life who I thought I knew. How is that possible that I can feel more comfortable with a random stranger that I spend every single day with, almost every single day, only for like 10 minutes at a time? How do I feel more confident about that person than I do anybody else? Why do I feel like I had such a strong connection with this person? I think that people disregard small interactions. They disregard human kindness. We disregard and take for granted the little things. But you know what? When you grow up and you don't have much anymore, what you do have and the time that you have it, or the time that you do have for those things matters way more than it ever did. Guys, I don't know where my content's gonna go. I wake up every single day and I go to stream and I do something fun. I yap with people, we joke, I draw stuff, you know, I hang out with people, I make content, but I barely make anything from it at all. And the hope is that eventually one day it makes money. But there is absolutely zero guarantee, and it is mostly luck. So I could be the most hardworking, like, dedicated, passionate individual, and yet I could still absolutely go nowhere. There's an entire, like, a massive possibility. It is more likely that I make no progress than it is that I get to where I want. But why do I do it? So if I know that the world and the odds are completely and utterly stacked against me, why do I do it? Why? What happens if I fail? What happens if all this stuff is gone tomorrow? What if my mom passes away and the thing that is allowing me to do this in the first place is gone? What if I'm not able to do it? What if it's just gone? What do I do then? This is my entire life. This is everything. So if it were to just disappear, what would I do? It's very possible that it does. But you know what? Worrying is dying twice. And you know what? It might happen. But even if it does, I have better friends now than I've ever had. I have a remarkable effect on people. I've changed the lives of like 100 people already. And that is more than most people can say for their entire life. My small little moment on this earth has impacted people more than I thought I was capable of doing. Just because I wake up every day and I make content, regardless of where it goes. I just do it because I assume that I have a greater impact on people than I will ever know. And it's true, I do. And those people might, because they're doing better, are growing better, and then they impact other people, and then those people impact other people, and it's a positive chain. Why do it? Well, I'm not living for some future, guys. I don't do all this because of the future. I'm not building my life up because of some future. Yeah, sure, there's goals. Of course I want to achieve them, and I'm going to do everything I can to get them, but I'm not concerned whether I actually get them or not. Truly, at my core, I could fail tomorrow, and I probably would still be fine. It would completely and utterly destroy me for a while, but you know what? As far as I'm aware, I've already won. I already affected like 100 people. I've already affected over 100 people. Like, that's crazy. In more ways than I will ever know. I've already won. I already got what I wanted. I already helped people. I already did. It doesn't matter how many. Who cares the number? I already did it. That's why I started in the first place, to help me and help other people. I fucking did it already. The number is not the thing that matters, but unfortunately, effect on people doesn't like pay the bills, you know? Like, I'm still realistic. And it's a very real problem. So knowing all these things, why do I still do it? Well, because I was where a lot of you are. And still am. And I look at it as like I look at the relationships that I had inside or the feelings that I had inside other communities like content creators and stuff because I grew up on content creators too. I look at those people and I look at the communities and the content that I grew up on and how I felt and how those things made me feel and the impact they had on me. And I realized that just having somebody to watch, being entertained, or having something to feel like you're a part of something, or having someone to relate and connect to can do so much more for you than you know in the moment. I didn't realize how much of an impact those people had on me until I grew up. And you know what? I outgrew them. 99% of the content creators I watched growing up, I don't watch anymore. And I probably never will. But I can't even really think of like all of them. I can only think of some of them. But I'm sure that there are plenty of channels that I just didn't even think of in the moment. But you don't realize how much of an impact it has on you until time gives you. There's enough time for you to realize it. Abyss, you can't tell me in your 20 something years of being alive that these small interactions are even going to be somewhere in your mind. Nope. No, I can't say for me either. I can't tell you what some random stranger's done in the parking lot or some weird in passing interaction. I can't think of like a single thing that people said to me at all throughout my life. I can't think of a single little tiny thing that people have done for me except for like a couple examples. But you know what? That doesn't mean that they didn't exist, and it doesn't mean that those didn't have an impact on me because they definitely did. They absolutely did in a small way, but sometimes the smallest things make the largest impact. But for some reason, you don't want to admit that they do. It's like you're almost against the idea that it's even possible that something in your life impacted you. It's like why would you be against that? What point is there in telling me that it didn't happen? Nope, nope, didn't happen. No, motherfucker, you can't say it didn't because you know at least over 10,000 people in your life. You've seen over at least 10,000 faces already. The average person, do you want to know how many people you meet in your whole life? You can't tell me that not a single one of the hundreds of people that you see every single day throughout your entire life, not one of them did something memorable. You don't have to physically remember it, but part of you does. And you will never, ever be able to recount those moments, but they live inside of you. They do. And I don't know why you would tell me they don't. What do you possibly gain from saying that it's not possible that some small thing in your life made an impact? It's like what of value is gained by saying that? Nothing of value is brought to yourself by denying that there was possibilities of kindness. It's cynical to believe that it's impossible for people to be kind to you and have an impact just because you don't know them. Isn't cynicism the thing that we're saying is irrational? Doesn't that kind of go hand in hand with the thing that we're arguing against? It's not significant to have the effect I'm assuming. No, I'm not saying it's like the thing that changed your life, but for you to say that a small little thing in passing doesn't add up, of course it does. Little acts of kindness in your life definitely do add up. One thing on its own, no. But multiple things together, yes. But each tiny little rock leaves a mark. That glass just continuously gets weaker every single time. It doesn't take one small passing little interaction, it takes many accounts. And you're not going to really remember any of them, but they have a bigger impact than you think. And telling me that they don't doesn't bring anything of value. To assume that they do, you're just assuming that something positive happened. It's like thinking about something, regardless if you're right or not, to say that something that was positive is just to be optimistic. Even if it's foolish or wrong, it doesn't matter. Let's count the other impacts, shall we? No, because there's no point. Like Abyss, Okay. What's the point in taking all of the bad things in one hand and all the good things in the other hand and putting them on a metaphorical scale and seeing which one weighs out the other? What is the point of that? Oh, your life was shittier than it was good. So does that mean that all of the good are bad now? Does that mean that none of that shit happened just because the bad outweighs the good? That's just not a good mentality to have. To assume that those things now lose all of their value because you're net negative. Yeah, but that means net negative? Okay. So your life's been more shitty than it has been positive. Guess what? That's like 100% of people's lives. Life is shit. No one's going to tell you otherwise. I'm not trying to tell you your life was better than it is worse. No, but I'm saying it's only a net positive to you personally to have the mentality that little things matter than they do. Because if you put more value on small things, it means the bigger things are just a net positive, even more already. Because it's like now, because small things matter, big things matter more. we there's this idea in our generation where we completely disregard small things. We take them for granted. We don't consider them at all because we only think big picture. You don't think about the tiny little blade of grass because you think that it's insignificant. Because you have a net negative in your life, all of the small little things mean nothing. What if you're walking on the sidewalk one day and you're having a shitty day and some old guy passes you and just gives you a little wave and a smile and says nothing and just keeps walking? You take that for granted? Yeah, and most everyone does. Everyone would say that it's stupid to make anything of that. But you know what? I think about those things. Yeah, and I wave back. I don't have to smile, but I at least, wave and acknowledge it. It's just a act of being human. It's just a acknowledgement of positivity. It's just sharing a moment. You are human on this earth at the same time in the same place together. You don't have to know the person. You don't have to give a shit. You don't have to think outside that moment. But when people are genuinely just better to each other, you start to see the impact. But the only reason you don't think about that is because most people are assholes. But guess what? Saying that doesn't make the problem better. Being cynical only adds to the problem. It's still net negative. You can change the evaluation in every way you want. The results would remain the same. Yeah, it's still a net negative. Yeah, but is that not just a bad mentality to have? What of value is gained by admitting that your life is worse than it is good? What point is there? So I mean, we're just being pessimistic. Are we just gonna say that like, yeah, life is shit and that's just how it is? It doesn't mean that those things are bad or that they're not valuable or that they're less valuable because life is shit. You're just acknowledging the fact. Yeah, but even acknowledging the truth doesn't add anything to your life. It doesn't make your life better because you're acknowledging that it's shit. That doesn't bring anything to you. That is nothing for you. In fact, acknowledging that your life is better and looking at and putting more value and putting more attention on the positive things only makes you better. There's only a net positive to be gained by acknowledging that your life is better. At least you're honest. Yeah, you can say that those things happened. It doesn't mean like don't feel those things. It doesn't mean shut that stuff away. No, but it means just put more value on small things. The point of this exercise, the point, and stop for a moment and listen, if you will. The point of this exercise and why I've stopped to talk about it is because it means a lot to me. because these are things that I remind myself every single day because I hate that people are so shitty. I hate that the world is so negative. I hate that it's so fucking awful and that life sucks and that it's so damn hard. But you know what? I would rather not add to the problem. I would rather not be cynical. I don't like being cynical. I don't like the feeling that that gives me. I don't like saying that my life is worse than it is good. That doesn't make me feel good. So I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do the thing that makes me feel good. And I'm going to say, hey, the little positive things that I've done for people probably mean more to that person than I will ever know. And maybe I did something nice for someone and they jeered at me, but it doesn't fucking matter. Yeah, it's it's grody. It's like, ugh, why, dude? I was trying to be nice and they were still shitheads. But you know what? I'm still going to do it. Because maybe later in life that person thinks about those moments because everyone eventually does. At some point in your life you'll start thinking about it, some sooner rather than later. At some point we all start thinking about those little moments. You won't lie to yourself to feel better. Well, it's only a lie if you think that. I don't think it's a lie. I think that we take for granted small things. I think that it's only a lie if you let it be. Because if you put more value, see, the thing is that shitty versus good is subjective. What you think is good and what you think is bad is subjective. It's entirely subjective. The scale of how you would grade a shitty interaction is different for you than it is for someone else. So you can entirely change the fact that your shit is bigger than your good. You can change that. It's not a lie for you to say that your life was better than it is worse. Yeah, you absolutely can. You know why? Because you put more of a point scale on the things that are good and less of a point scale on the things that are bad. You just outweigh it. That's not lying to yourself to say that those things didn't happen or that they aren't shitty. No, you're just putting the better things on a higher level. You're just putting them on a higher scale. You're assigning them a bigger point value. If we were to say that life has a point value, if we were to put everything on a scale, like a number value, put a number on everything out of 100, put a number on every shit thing you've ever been through and every good thing you've ever been through, and tell me that the number on negative is higher. You know why? Because your number of one thing might be higher or lower than somebody else's. There is no static number to assign to something that was shitty. There is no static amount to say, oh, this negative thing happened. This is the number value. No, because the number is different from everyone, isn't it? Even if I went through the exact same trauma as you, Abyss, my number value assigned to it might not be the same. No, actually, 100% it wouldn't be. My number is not going to be the same as yours. There's no justifiable evaluation. No, there is. You know why? You know what I do? I go through shitty things every single day. I have to struggle as much as everybody else does. I do. I don't talk about it though. I don't think about it. It's not that I'm not allowing myself to feel it. No, I just put more weight in my mind. I let my mind outweigh the negatives by thinking more about the positives. It's just called having a mentality. It's just mentality. It's just thinking, well, sure, all this shit is happening, but at least I got to talk to Cheesy today. Or sure, all these negative things are happening and you're feeling cynical and upset about stuff, and yet maybe I might have a positive impact on you. There's a chance. And even if I don't, at least I tried. Is it worth it? Well, yeah, because I got to talk to Cheesy today. Abyss, I don't care what happens today. I don't care what level of shit happens to me today. You know why? Because I got to talk to you, and I got to talk to Spicy, and I got to hang out with everyone, and I got to help Shelly with his VTube stuff that I'm very excited to talk about, but can't yet until he's ready to leak it. Like, dude, I just don't think about the other shit. I just don't. It's not that I don't think about it at all. It's just that I outweigh it in my mind. I assign more mental value to the things that are positive than the negative. It's always worth it because the people that want to put you down get mad whenever you rise above them. Well, yeah, true. No, because I just feel bad for those people. In some way, I do. Sometimes, yeah, I get that sick pleasure that everyone gets of fucker. That's what you get. Yeah, I get that too. Like, yeah, we all do. But at the same time, my immediate response to that is they lash out and they feel bad because they're insecure and they're just broken people. And all I can feel is sympathy for that person. The only thing I can feel when I see someone tearing themselves down just because I'm doing better is sympathy because I've been there and I know what they're feeling and I can only feel bad for them and wish that I could do something. But you know what? I can't. And that's their problem. And you can't help everyone. So why waste my energy thinking about it? If they want help, they'll come to me. And I'll be ready if they do. I draw my strength from positivity. I'm only where I am now because I force myself to think this way. You know what, guys? I've said it before and I'll say it again. Most of the things that I tell you, I don't even believe myself. You want the genuine, honest, heart to heart truth, complete transparency. I would probably tell you that, like, at least 70% of the things that I tell you, at least 70% of the beliefs that I tell you, and the things that I say about myself that I think, I don't actually believe. But you know what? I tell myself every single fucking day because I have to, because it's the only reason that I continue to do what I'm doing. It's the only reason that I continue to be kind to people. It's the only reason I stay sane because I keep telling myself the things that I don't believe in hopes that eventually one day I will. Because if I lie to myself enough times, eventually it'll start to be true. And guess what? I told myself people are better than they are worse, that there are great people in the world. And you know what? Because I forced myself to believe that and I did the things that would make the, people better. I did the things to make myself better and I changed the way that I thought about other people. And now I have more great people in my life. Wow, look at that. I got rid of all the toxicity because I acknowledge that there's bad and that there's also good, but there's more good than there are bad. And I just think about it that way. And I force myself to because now I have great people in my life. It not only changes the way that I think about them, but it puts more in, it makes their interactions more impactful and it changes the way that I treat other people. It is a net positive for both me and everybody else because it makes me better. And it means that it makes them better. And then I find better people and that makes me better. And it's a positive cycle. The only way you can make things better is by assuming that they are and forcing yourself to believe the things that we all know are fucking false, but we have to believe them. You know why? Because someone has to. You want the genuine, honest truth. That's why I lie to myself every single day because someone has to. And I'm not going to sit around and wait. Life is shit. I'm not going to tell you it's not. I'm not going to sit around and tell you your life is better than it is worse because I'm lying to you and I want you to believe it. No, maybe you have a net positive. You probably do. Like I said, or a net negative. Life is just negative. It's just shit. You refuse to. And why is that? Maybe think about that a little bit. Why are you so adamant about not believing something is positive? Why are you so adamant and so defensive against a positive mentality? Principle? I don't think it's that. Because I could say that you saying your life is more negative than it is positive is just lying to yourself. You're making shit up. Maybe because it's easier to accept that things are bad than it is to accept that they're good. Because if everything else around you is better, then it means that you need to be better. You have to match the amount of positivity in your life. That's the thing. Is the more positive your life is, the more you need to be. Otherwise, the worse you look. If you're a terrible person in a positive environment, the positive environment is only going to make you feel worse about yourself. So we put ourselves in terrible environments because it makes us feel better about ourselves. And that is infinitely easier than it is to try and make it better. You won't lie yourself to feel better. You know what? Then don't. I can't make you. But I will say that your mentality is the reason I destroyed my life. Because I used to be in almost the same boat. I used to be there. But the reason that I lie to myself now is because I got there in the first place. And because if I didn't, I would have been there still. If I didn't lie to myself and say that I have an impact on people, if I didn't lie to myself and say that I have a gift, if I didn't lie to myself and say that I could do these things and believe that it's possible that I might grow into something bigger and make all these friends and and do all this stuff, I don't believe a single fucking second of it. But you know what? I don't let myself think that way. Because if I did, I would just stop streaming. I would give up. Those thoughts are the entire reason why I shut it up. Because if I let them win, if I stop lying to myself, then I will just stop. What reason would I have to continue if I didn't believe it? So I have to, Abyss. Maybe you don't, but there's something to learn from it. You don't have to think the way I do. But the reason I share it with you is because I know where you are. I've had hearts to hearts with you. I want to only help you become better. So I'm just going to do the thing that I can to help. It's not to make you believe or think of anything I say. No, I don't think you will. You might just be stuck in your ways. But you know what? If you are, then the only thing I can do is share what I do to get out of it. And if maybe you'll come up with some kind of solution for yourself. Maybe you'll reevaluate the things that you think about and how you think about them. Maybe you'll start to think, well, it's not really a lie unless you make it, is it? You can't tell me that 100% or you can't put a statistical paper number on any of the things that happen in your life. You can't. You can't list out every single day that you've had. You can't tell me every single name of every single person you've ever known. You can't tell me a number scale of everything you've ever had. The only thing you can tell me is how today make you feel. The only thing you can tell me is how this week has made you feel. And if you tell me about all of the negative shit, then the first thing you thought about is the negative shit. And that is a problem. Start with the good. Acknowledge the bad. Don't ignore it. No, be realistic. Things happen. Allow yourself to feel them. But change your priorities. Shift your order of operations in your head. Think about the good things first, then deal with the bad things. Because thinking about the good things gives you a reason to deal with the bad things. You know why I deal with the bad things now? Because I have a reason to. You know what my reason is? You. You're my reason. You, Spicy, my friends, everybody else in the community, my stream, my effect on people, not just the people I know now, but the people I will know tomorrow, and the week after that, and the month after that, and the year after that, and the lifetimes that will follow, because Kylist will outlive me. This guy will outlive me. That's the point. I truly do not know how my impact will have, or how much impact I will have on the world, because I could die tomorrow and have a bigger impact after that than I will while I'm alive. I don't fucking know. I don't know. Maybe some clip I make in like 10, 20 years from now when I'm not even streaming anymore. Hell, I could be dead. Someone finds my clip in YouTube and then it just goes viral. And then people realize I'm not even alive. And that's the thing that like gives it enough spark to change the world. I don't fucking know, dude. You can't tell me that it's a 0% chance that that could happen. You can't tell me that. You might tell me it's 1 in a trillion. Sure. But you can't tell me it's 0. It's not about the number. It's the way that you think about it. It's not about the fucking number, dude. You're worried about the number. Everyone's worried about that number and the way they feel about it. It's not 0. So I will live for that tiny, tiny, tiny little chance. You know why? Because I already see that chance living in you. You are a walking, talking example of the effect that I have on people. All of you are. The community I have right now is an example of what I could build. It's a testament to prove that it's possible. If I can affect 10 people, who says that I can't affect 100? If I can affect 100, who says I can't affect 1,000? And you know what? Part of me doesn't believe it, Abyss. I think most of me doesn't believe it. I think that I'm crazy. I think I've like already lost my mind and I just do this shit because like I have nothing else to do. I think genuinely I've just like given up and this is just my way to cope with it. I don't know. That could be true. But you know what? That just means now more than ever I need to believe it. It's not about whether I'm right or wrong. It's about I need to believe it. I can't not believe it. Because the truth is too difficult right now. Being hurtful to people and hurting because of other people and being cynical and talking about how shit our lives are does nothing to make it better. It doesn't. You're wasting your energy that could be better spent being positive with the people that matter. I don't mean you need to build a positive connection with everyone you meet. But it is only a net positive on your life to put more value on the things that matter. Because things only matter if you make it matter. It doesn't just nothing is automatically good. The thing is, you could make the best choice in your life and then it ends up being the worst one. You could think you have everything going for you and then suddenly you don't. And you realize, man, I'm in this shit situation because of the choice that I made. Man, I went to college and got that degree, but that fucked me for the rest of my life. Entirely possible that this grand decision that you've made in your life completely screws you over. It is not a net 0, but see, thinking about that bothers you and it doesn't do anything to make your experience better. That does not increase your odds. That only makes the odds worse. So why the fuck would you think about it? You see how irrational that is? Apply that logic to literally anything. Abyss, what if you get through college and this degree absolutely screws you over somehow, and you realize that what was assumed to be your best decision in life ends up being your worst one? It's entirely possible. It's called it's called the Nova effect. The effect that you might think that something that is a net negative for you turns out to be a net positive, or something that you thought was a good decision ends up being the thing that destroys your life the most. It's an entirely possible thing. And the point of that paradox is to say that there is no good or bad decision. There's no such thing. The only thing that is certain is decision and how you feel about it. And you decide that. You decide whether or not something is good and how you feel about it. And the only way you can change that is by changing the way you think. So you know what I do? I assume everybody else's life is worse than mine. But instead of just waiting around and ignoring these things, I allow myself to feel the bad, but I change my priorities. Change your priorities, guys. The world needs some healing. And unlike some of you, I'm not going to sit around and wait for that to happen. And I'm not going to do anything to make it worse. I'm just going to continue doing what I can to make it better. And maybe, just maybe, I start a chain of positivity. Maybe I change the way you guys think, and then you end up doing the same thing. And then you guys change how you change how someone else thinks. And then that person changes. So then they change how the next person thinks. And that positivity and the way that I think spreads to other people. It's called idealism, guys. Idealism spreads. Kindness spreads. If I'm kind to you and I change the way you think, then maybe you'll do the same for someone else. And that kindness will just continue to grow. It might not. It might not happen. I don't fucking know. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do it anyway. I don't care if it's stupid or foolish. I'm just going to do it anyway. You know why? Because no one else is. No one else is going to do it. Someone has to. Yeah, someone out here has to remind people that it's possible to be kind. That it's logical to be kind. Someone's got to do it. I don't believe it. I get pissed off with people all the fucking time, but you know what? I don't prioritize that. I'm not ignoring it. I'm just saying that's like number 20 on my list of things I care about. That's if it's even on the list at all. You only care about something if you let yourself care about it. Your number value for how good something is decided purely on your own will. You decide that. So maybe think about the way that you apply your number value to things. Maybe reconsider the way that you think about things. Because maybe your life could be better if you thought about it that way. Change the lens in which you look at things, and it makes it a little brighter. It might not be true. The world might still be burning around you, but why think about that? It's not going to make you better. It's not going to make the world better. It's not going to put the fire out. Yeah, it's okay to feel bad about it. It's okay for us to say, yeah, it's shit, but like, it's not going to stop us from being kind to each other and still having fun and playing games. It shouldn't stop you from being kind to people just because they aren't. Because it only just continues the cycle of violence. But anyway, that's my TED Talk. I have a wonderful day to go spend. It is like 50 something degrees outside and sunny. So I'm going to enjoy the warmth while it's there before it turns into blitzing heat and I lose all the sleep. We raiding Shelly. Oh, is Shelly up right now? Yeah, if Shelly's up, I'll raid him. Hell yeah. Oh, is he up right now? Fuck yeah, dude. It was a good conversation. Yeah. And I might be in Discord later tonight just doing some woo-wah if you want to hang out. I'm going to continue doing the things I do every day, Abyss, because at some point you'll think about it. That's the hope. I can't make you. I won't judge you for the way you think. I can only respect the way you think because I've been there. But I seek to change the world, and I'm going to do anything I possibly can to make it happen, even if it never will. Because it doesn't matter if it does or not. I can still change the world for a few people, and that's more than enough for me.